back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
When the UFC announced that Donald Cerrone vs. Yancy Medeiros was gonna headline UFC Austin, everybody went crazy. Yo, potential fight of the year. Everybody except for James Vick, that is. He's saying, what in tarnations? I'd whip both their asses. Alright, I don't even think he talks like that. But these fucking dudes are both like cowboys. They're battling it out over the main event of UFC Austin. And I just wanted to do that. So, fucking jokes aside, James Vick is actually pissed. James Vick is a up-and-coming killer in the UFC's lightweight or welterweight division. He said, I'll fight at 155, or at Cerrone, I'll fight Cerrone at 155 or 170. I feel like I'd tear him up at either weight class. Same with Yancy. But they're not giving me that opportunity. We're coming to UFC Austin, and I should be main eventing. James Vick is on a 3-fight finishing streak. He's beat 3 guys in a row. All of them finishes. Most recently, he beat Joe Duffy at UFC 217 Madison Square Garden. Fucking the Big Apple, right? I don't know if that's the Big Apple, yo. I'm not well traveled, but you get the point. Madison Square Garden, New York. James Vick was in the bright lights, got his 3rd finish in a row, and he's saying, how the hell am I not main eventing over Donald Cerrone, who's got finished 3 times in a row? Almost. I mean, he didn't get finished by Robbie Lawler, but Darren Till, Jorge Masvidal, twice in the one fight. So he did, you know. So he's saying, how is this guy losing 3 fights in a row? I'm finishing 3 fights in a row, and I'm not the fucking main event of UFC Austin. Explain that. And so, I mean, I could pull up the Twitter, but I don't even got to. You get or the Instagram. But we all know Donald Cerrone, and that's part of the why he's getting the headline. He's a huge star to the casual fan. If I go and bring my brother in right now and I say, hey, do you know who Donald Cerrone is? He's going to say, yeah. If I say, hey, do you know who James Vick is? He's going to say no. And that's just facts. He's a casual fan. He don't know like I know who James Vick is and how James Vick would probably put them yum on a lot of these lightweights that don't want to fight him. He said there's 4 lightweights that the UFC has offered him. First, it was like Donald Cerrone he wanted to fight, because Donald Cerrone said he wanted to fight at 155 or 170. And they were like, yo, we don't know what you're talking about. He's not fighting at 155, bro. And come to find out, they were right. Donald Cerrone did say on the Brendan Schaub podcast, I believe, that he was going back down to lightweight and reducing his fight frequency. But the fight versus Yancy Medeiros is actually going to be taking place at welterweight. But even if that's the case, James Vick said, I would have fought him there too. Didn't get the opportunity. He said, it's looking like the guy that he's most likely going to get the fight with is Francisco Trinaldo. He said because he was, it was like out of Paul Felder. Francis, let me see if in the article I have all the names he brought up are in it. But I know it was Paul Felder, Francisco Trinaldo, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Let's see, there was a couple other guys. I don't know all the other guys, but he said essentially there's a lot of lightweights fucking ducking James Vick. He said he doesn't think Paul Felder, he said he thinks Paul Felder would take the fight, but he thinks his manager's going to advise him not to. It wouldn't be too smart for Paul Felder, a dude coming up, you know, a lightweight killer, also UFC commentating too, so he's going to be building his. Paul Felder could take smart fights, and James Vick is essentially saying, I'm not too smart of a fight for anybody to take because I'm a problem for everybody. So he thinks for some reason maybe Paul Felder's management won't give him the fight, but he said Francisco Trinaldo's another guy who's got his eye on that probably will take the fight. But when you compare Francisco Trinaldo to the Paul Felders and the Donald Cowboy Cerrones of the world, you can understand why James Vick wanted those fights, just because a lot more people know those guys. He wants a big fight. He feels like he's going to be a star. He feels like he's one of the best in the division, up and coming. He's only got 1 loss in his UFC career, which I believe is to Beneil Dariush. And so with that being said, James Vick is an up and comer. And until he can get a fight versus a Donald Cowboy Cerrone, no one's going to know who the fuck he is. People know Darren Till because he got to fight Donald Cerrone. Yancy Medeiros, to be fair, deserves a fight with a big guy like Donald Cowboy Cerrone coming off of his last performance. And you know exactly where I'm going with this. Fight of the year versus Cowboy Oliveira. Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Yancy Medeiros was fight of the year. No ifs, ands, no buts. You can take your Gaethje Johnson. You can take your Garbrandt Dillashaw, which would probably be number 2 to me. But when you're talking about fight and you ain't playing politics, you're not talking about the biggest star. You're not talking about was it a title fight. Well, and see, to be fair, there could be some fights in Bellator on some Fight Pass prelims that none of us saw. But when you're talking about fight of the year, I'm taking Yancy Medeiros, Cowboy Oliveira all fucking year. And I'm going to do those awards soon. But so with that being said, coming off a fight of the year, now you're fighting the next Cowboy. You know how dope that kind of is? Like, think of the build-up. Yancy Medeiros is essentially might be billed as the Cowboy Killer. If he does what he did to the last Cowboy, and then let's say he comes in here and finishes this Cowboy, Yancy Medeiros is officially the Cowboy Killer. Any one of these dudes that are coming up from the Texas, he might want James Vick next, you know what I'm saying? And he might stop going with the dudes that are actually just got the Cowboy nickname and just want the Texans next. And then he might just take on the rest of the South. Alright, you get the point, man. This is going to be a great fight, even though James Vick's not in the main event. It's definitely probably going to be a bigger fight. Yancy Medeiros deserves the fight. Cowboy Cerrone, he's just a big name, so even if he's on a 3-fight losing streak and James Vick is on a 3-fight winning streak, you're going to sell way more tickets and draw in way more numbers when it says Cowboy Cerrone versus Yancy Medeiros, and it is what it is. So with that being said, James Vick sounded off. Let the full-time family know what you think about this in the comments, man. James Vick needs a fight, and Francisco Trinaldo, unfortunately, is going to be another one of those situations. If you couldn't get the Cowboy fight from your UFC fucking finish over Joe Duffy, you're going from that huge performance to fighting Trinaldo. It's unfortunate, because you would think you'd be able to take that momentum and get you your bigger fight. But now he might have to take the Holloway, the Ferguson, the Whitaker route, where no one's going to know your name until you knock off killer after killer after killer, or do something spectacular, you know what I'm saying? And you would think his 3-fight finishing streak is spectacular. A couple more finishes maybe and he'll be out there, but it is what it is for now. James Vick is looking like maybe versus Trinaldo, hopefully maybe Felder. I mean, I want to see James Vick versus any top lightweight, but as far as that's being said, it's interesting to see that Donald Cerrone's sticking around at welterweight. So, hey, it is what it is, man. Let the full-time family know what the fuck you tell me in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking DOWG!